Some of these Alex Golesh offensive numbers are crazy.
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the boog, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off. And you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie Five.
Yes, sir. We're back. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Rush, a.k.a. Charlie Five, and we are ready to get after it. Guys, the more and more I look into the statistics and offensive numbers and the consistent production from an Alex Golesh offense, the more I feel like Auburn is in a really good spot to finally break the curse of the quote-unquote offensive guru and really explode in the SEC against anybody they play. You just look at the numbers, and we're going to go through some of those here in just a second, and just how often it repeats itself. And then the highest point of the numbers, even in SEC play, it's got to get you excited. It's different than anything that we've had at Auburn before. So we're going to go through that, and we're going to talk about the first steps. We're going to talk about what he has to do to get Auburn to be able to make that jump, because that's what he's been able to do quickly at every program he's been. He's been able to turn around and make a big jump year one. So look, let's be real for a second. I think most of you, and maybe even me at times, were like, look, I don't know if I can do another one of these offensive guru things. You know, you go back to 2015. From 2015 till 2025, so one whole decade of offense, minus 2017, and even 2017 at times, you saw some of the same issues. But for one solid decade, we'll say 9 out of 10 years, you've had putrid offenses. Let's call it what it is. You've had absolutely putrid offenses from offensive-led head coaches. A lot of times, very similar to this year, it's the same story. Defense played good enough to win the game. Offense couldn't get it done. And there's so many times in so many games in those 9 out of 10 years where it's the same exact type issues, whether it's offensive line pass protection, can't really throw the ball, don't have a dynamic passing attack. One thing after another, it's a common thread, and it happened over 3 coaches, and that to me is just mind-blowing. So like most of you, I think I'm like, man, let's try defense. Let's try something different. Let's maybe go with a defensive-minded head coach. Let him go find an offensive whiz kid, offensive coordinator, go pay top dollar for an offensive coordinator and kind of let them have the offense like DJ Durkin was allowed to have the defense and be like fully autonomous over the offense. That was one of the things that was appealing to me about John Sumrall. If we could either help him or he could go out and pull a top-end offensive coordinator, you have a defensive-minded head coach. It's different than what we've seen. But Auburn goes into the direction of another offensive coach. But to me, the resumes as far as offensive production are not remotely the same as the ones prior. So it gives me a lot more hope when I'm diving into the numbers. And again, we're going to talk about those in just a second. When you dive into the numbers, it doesn't feel like a hot shot taking advantage of a couple of really good years. It doesn't feel like a flash in the pan. It doesn't feel like a fancy system that's out there that could change. You've done it on multiple levels now where you've gone in, you've turned an offense around, and you've turned it around quickly, and you've even done it in the league. And I think that, to me, is the most important thing. You've done it in the SEC. You've done it against some of the best. You've scored a lot of points against some of the traditional best SEC programs. So that's what gives me, as I continue to dive in, that's what gives me more hope that this offense could be ready to explode. Now, there's some things that they've got to do to prepare for that, and there's some things they got to do to make sure that they're ready to go year one. They got some battles to fight off the field first. But I think this may be the real deal. I think this may be the real deal from an offensive perspective. Now, that yielding into wins, it's another discussion for another day, okay? But Auburn, I think, is yearning so badly to be able to go out and feel good about scoring points, feel good about getting the ball in your hand with 2 minutes to go on the 25 and saying, y'all left us way too much time. I have yearned for that for so long. Under a minute, doesn't matter. You left us too much time. And we got a timeout, you're cooked. All we got to do is get down and get a field goal, you're done. All we got to do is get down and we can score a touchdown and win the game. You're done. I can't remember having that mindset. Maybe we can't, maybe going back to Cam, it was for a whole different reason. It wasn't because of being so explosive. It was because you had the best player in college football. And that's the way it feels right now. That's the way it feels like it could move in that direction and put up some really good numbers. So we're going to talk numbers here in just a second, because I think it's fine to talk in like hyperbole and all that, but when you really dive into the numbers, that's whenever you really see how this thing could play out. So we're going to do that in just a second. But before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to me, Kyle Rush, with Keller Williams Real Estate in Auburn, Opelika, part of the Legacy Property Group. Email me at kylerush@kw.com if you want to reach out. If you're moving to the area, want to move from the area, want to build a house, need to sell a house, or if you're looking to invest in maybe some rental property, short-term or long-term, I'm your guy. We just listed a bunch of townhomes that are inside the city limits that are zoned for short-term rental. Would love to talk to you about those. We have some cottages coming up that are within walking distance from the stadium. How nice would that be? Have your own cottage that you can park at, and you don't tailgate right at the house and then just walk to the game. It's fantastic. So reach out, leave us a voicemail, 334-245-3615. Would love to help you and your family. And then also, quick shout out to rowback.com. Use coupon code BARN20 to take 20% off your order. Polos, pullovers, hoodies, doesn't matter. They've got it. Use that coupon code, save big, get you some Auburn licensed apparel for Christmas. How about that? This is, I guess, today's Cyber Monday. So double check that code. They may have a site-wide off sale too. So show them some love, save big. It's rowback.com. We'll be back right after this. So let's actually look at the numbers, okay? Let's dive into some of these numbers. So obviously he was good at Central Florida in 2020. Then he goes to Tennessee with Josh Heupel, okay? Tennessee was really, really bad on offense the year prior to them arriving. I'm talking 108th or something like that in the country. Okay, that was 2021. 2020. And then in 2021, he takes over and goes from, again, 108 in, I think, total offense, 102 in scoring offense in the country. He takes that over, and in year one at Tennessee, he jumps all the way up to number 9 in the country, not the conference, in the country in total offense, and number 7 in the country in scoring offense. So I know what you're thinking. You're like, look, okay, I get it. It's a new system. He jumped into the SEC, maybe caught fire a little bit. People maybe didn't have a lot of film. People didn't know how to adjust, and it was one of those flash in the pan type things. Need to see him repeat it. Need to see him take that over. Need to see him continue that another year before I want to make my decision on if that's good or not. So fast forward to 2022. You're like, okay, the film is out. The book is out. Let's put him to the test. So what does he do? How does he answer that huge of a jump from year one, from year 0 to year 1? Tell you what he does. He leads the country in offense, total scoring, total yards per play, average yards per play. He leads the whole country in year 2. And this isn't like he had, I think this is when he had like Hendon Hooker maybe. This is not like we had like the number 1 quarterback in the whole country or this big time NFL prospect quarterback. No. So after a year of everyone seeing his offense, okay, after everyone having a year to adjust, he just goes out and not only duplicates, but he enhances the offense that much more in the SEC from year 1 to year 2. I got to give you some perspective here, man. 525 yards a game, okay? Think about the best Auburn offenses. 2010, 2017, 2013, 2014. Maybe those are some good offenses that you can say, man, I bet those are comparable. The only one remotely close is 2013, and that just barely got over 500 yards a game, 501 yards a game. So just to give you an idea, one of the best Auburn offenses in the last 25 years, since 2000. I would say, I mean, it's the best statistical offense since 2000. Barely is knocking on the door of what this 2022 offense did at Tennessee a year after. And this was honestly, remember, that was Gus's first year. So we really didn't have a full grasp of what Gus was yet on offense. This is year 2 in the SEC, and he's lighting SEC schools up. I think he scored like almost 60 points on Alabama that year. Crazy offensive numbers. And I know one thing also you're probably thinking is, man, at Auburn, we like to run the football. We want to be able to run the ball. I just don't know how I feel about all these pass-happy attacks. Can you control the clock? Can you do this? Can you do that? We got to run the ball. In 2022, they averaged right at 200 yards rushing per game. It was well over 300 yards passing and almost 200 yards rushing per game, 199, I think. Running the ball has been a big deal in his offense. So you go to South Florida. Okay, so Tennessee was great. We'll give him that one. Had another good offense in not quite as good, hard to top that one, but still a top 20 offense in 2023 at Tennessee. And then he parlays that into a head coaching job at South Florida, which we'll dive into this South Florida deal a lot more as the days go by. Just a putrid situation. They'd won 4 games, I think, in 3 years. Just awful. Gets them to become really, really competitive. And then this year, year 3, number 2 nationally in total offense and number 4 in scoring. So now you've seen it as a coordinator in the SEC, and you've seen it as a head coach taking over a job that was in complete despair, complete disarray, a complete disaster. I think I remember a lot of people talking about you can't win at South Florida. You can't do it in today's game. He took a homegrown quarterback that signed with him in high school, and there's been 2 years now. He had a bad injury last year, but the 2 years he's been 2 years he's been healthy, he's thrown for over 3,000 yards, and this year he threw for 3,000 and rushed for 3,000. I'm sorry, rushed for 1,000, which is just insane. I think this is the time. I think finally we may be onto something to where Auburn could actually realize or experience some big-time offensive results. And I think all of us have been yearning for that for quite some time. I mean, I'm telling you, it's been a decade. It's been a decade since you felt really, really good that your offense could go out and get you points. Even 2017 at times, you had some breakdowns where you're like, it's just frustrating. But I think you may be about ready to turn that corner. So what are the first steps that have to be done? Like, okay, all right, I get all that. I get all the numbers. I get everything you said. That sounds awesome. What are the first steps that he needs to take to make that happen at Auburn? Because what we just saw on offense this past year, wasn't it. Maybe you had the players. Maybe you had some bodies out there that could get it done. What are the first things he needs to do to be able to make that happen at Auburn? I'm still of the opinion, and it's different than some others out there. I'm still of the opinion there's some dudes on this offense, particularly at wide receiver. I think you got some good running backs. There's some good young offensive linemen that maybe just need an opportunity. There's some dudes there, okay? So the first thing you got to do is you got to figure out who are those dudes and can I keep them? Because a bird in the hand is way better than, two in the bush or whatever that saying is. Yeah, anybody's replaceable, okay? With the portal now. Most people you're able to replace, get close to that production. Okay, but there's a difference between having a known quantity on your team right now versus going out and taking a flyer on a replacement. And I think you got to start at quarterback, and that's the place you have to start now in college football. Some people still say you got to start in the trenches. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think you got to start at quarterback and then go from there. You got Ashton Daniels. You got Deuce Knight. And I think he needs to decide very, very quickly, is Deuce Knight our future? And I think they met yesterday. By all accounts, things went really, really well. If Deuce Knight is the future, you ought to be able to look on tape and show him everything that you've done with folks that aren't as gifted as you. Look what I did with guys that don't have the physical tools that you do. Have a proven track record. I'm going to roll with you. You got to decide if that's the case right off the bat. And if it's not, he's got enough track record to me to give him grace that he'll be able to find that guy. And the guy may very well be Byron Brown from South Florida if it doesn't work out with Deuce or Ashton. I think Ashton is just good to be here. So you may be good with your backup there. But if you don't feel like, or it's not going to work out with Deuce, you may have the perfect answer right there that was on your roster. He's got a year left. So I think the first step right off the bat is quarterback. We got to figure out the quarterback scenario, and we can go from there. The defensive side, we're still waiting to see what happens with DJ Durkin. I got a sneaky suspicion that it may be announced today at the press conference that he's returning. That's not guaranteed, though. And I think DJ Durkin is still exploring some options. He's got some head coaching options. There's a lot of these American Conference school openings that popped up that I think he could probably be a really good fit at. You got Kentucky that just fired Mark Stoops that could be in the mix in. I think they may have their candidate sort of nailed down, but who knows in coaching searches these days. We'll see. And once they get the defensive side figured out, to me, you got to start at quarterback. Start at quarterback and go from there. I'm really excited to see the potential of what Deuce could do if he stays in this offense. I think as with all the numbers he's put up, I don't know that he's had a quarterback quite as gifted physically as Deuce Knight. So that excites me about the potential of what he could do and what he could develop that kid into. So, guys, I think this could be the end of the curse. And if it's not, if it doesn't work, there is some voodoo, magic, something cleansing that we have to do of the program. And I don't know if you got to get out the sage. I don't know if you got to call the witch doctor. I don't know if you got to get the holy water and sprinkle everything. I don't know what you got to do. But if this cat can't make the offense work, I don't know how you make it work. Auburn is snake bit with offensive coaches. But I don't think that's the case. Let me know what you think in the comments. The more and more I get into this, the better I feel. So let me know if you feel the same. Guys, I really appreciate it. Got a press conference today. Can't wait to hear what the new coach has to say. And then we'll obviously be talking about this for quite some time. And we'll see how coaching positions fill out. And we'll talk about those as they happen. A lot of fun stuff going on. A lot of action. So lock in. Subscribe, make sure you're tuned in. We'll have the members only video content, behind the scenes stuff. If you want to take advantage of that, check out our YouTube tier memberships. We're going to drop 4 to 5 different pieces a week. A lot of that will be film review on the offense. Again, a little bit more behind the scenes type stuff. Make sure you're a member and taking advantage of that. Really appreciate it. We'll talk again soon. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. Stay buttoned.
Thanks for listening and drive home safely.